Hello, everyone, and welcome back. My name is Oren. I'm a physical therapist, and I specialize in the treatment of chronic pain. So, thank you to everyone who attends these live. And remember, during the presentation, you can write your comments or send your questions. That's fine. And also, thank you to all those who watch the videos later. Today, we're going to continue with this theme of why it's so important to remove the underlying tension that's caused by the autonomic nervous system and the holding patterns that the autonomic nervous system carries. And I want to use a little analogy here with the rubber duckies. So, a lot of patients tell me that they were fine until they picked up a carton of milk from the fridge, or they were fine, but whenever they go to watch television, they get this pain in the neck, or they somebody was over there to one side and they turned their head and that set off their pain. So these are aggravating factors that set off people's pain, and then what happens is that they blame these activities for their problem. They say the problem is that I was not straight enough, or the problem was that I was picking up too much, or so on. I want to change the perspective on all of that, and to have people not blame these relatively innocuous, relatively mild activities on their pain. And this is why this happens. Okay, imagine you have a bathtub, and the bathtub is full of water. Okay, and it's actually so full, the water level is right up to the top. Okay, and if you can see that, but this bathtub is completely full of water. Then you have your rubber ducky. Okay, there's your little rubber ducky, little harmless rubber ducky. Can you see that? And you add the rubber ducky to the water. Well, what's going to happen is that water is going to overflow. Okay? And that means that you didn't have any threshold for one more thing to add tension to your system. Whatever you add into that system now, the water is going to overflow. Okay? And you say, oh no, duckies cause my pain. I cannot tolerate rubber duckies, whether the rubber ducky is sitting down for 10 minutes, or whether the rubber ducky is, picking up an object or sending a text. So you have no tolerance for these rubber duckies, but then you start to blame the rubber duckies for your pain. It was because I wasn't sitting completely straight. Well, we're supposed to be able to, tolerate not sitting completely straight. But here the rubber ducky is blamed. Now, the question is, why is the bathtub full to begin with? And if you go back to the last lecture, we basically had this concept of the autonomic nervous system being stuck in a state of emergency, being stuck in a state of fight or flight, which means that the whole system is revved up. The whole system cannot be relaxed, and it cannot be relaxed by your voluntary nervous system. So all the muscles, or you have a holding pattern, a holding pattern which is cannot be released easily. But it's kind of like having a big crocodile inside the bathtub. Okay? So the crocodile is taking up so much space here that it's bringing the water level to the top. And that's why anything you add on here is going to make the water overflow. That holding pattern is untenable. It doesn't work for the long run. But unfortunately, it keeps our body in a state of tension. And then, because it's part of the involuntary nervous system, we're not even aware. We don't even know that there's a big crocodile in the water. Which is why, because it's part of the involuntary nervous system, we don't have good consciousness of it. Just like we're not conscious of when, we swallow and when we blink and so on. It's all autonomic. It's all involuntary. We don't have good awareness of it. So that is sitting there in this holding pattern that we cannot relax. And when we address this, when we address the crocodile, then what happens is, if we remove this, what happens is the water level can go down to maybe here. Does that make sense? And then you can throw in rubber duckies and it'll make the water only go up a little bit and nothing overflows. So the idea behind removing the big things, the holding pattern, the crocodiles from the water, is that then it gives you a lot more tolerance, a lot more range to do these other activities that in the past you've blamed your pain on. It's not the fault of the picking up the milk or the sitting in a hard chair or anything like that. The problem is that the water level was too high to begin with. And when you remove that holding pattern from the involuntary nervous system, it gives you a lot more range. And one more thing that happens, and we can talk about that more in the future, is that the brain is very associative. So when you do these activities, each time you put in a rubber ducky and it takes you over the edge, your brain associates danger with that particular activity. And so then when you even see a rubber ducky, or when you think about a rubber ducky, whatever your rubber ducky is, then it activates the pain system. So by removing the involuntary response, we're setting up a pathway for healing where we can do normal activities without pain. Thank you, and if you have any questions, you can send them through the Facebook or just call me 770-815-8512. Thank you.